Gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome to a very, I'm going to say, down-to-earth kind of video. Now, this video, I'm not going to lie, has a lot of criticism, and this, before we get into this, I want to put a big disclaimer right here. I don't have any personal grudge against either of these two games. They're just two games I'm using, for an example for this video, and so I want to discuss this topic a little more. So, long story short, I was having a little chat with a friend of mine the other day, my friend Brian. We were talking on PlayStation Network, and stuff like that. We were discussing Destiny and the Division, why the games were, we were hype at launch, but they kind of died to us. Now, if you know my story with Destiny, if you've heard me talk about it in videos before, my grudge with Destiny is I was honestly looking for a Halo clone, not a Halo MMO. And that's my beef with Destiny. But that's another topic for another day. I don't really have anything against Destiny. But what I wanted to do was talk to you guys about why MMO shooter hybrids suck. And I'm not saying that the Division or Destiny are terrible games, that they suck, that they're horrible. But these two genres are not meant to be blended together. And Destiny and the Division are perfect examples of why these two genres aren't meant to blend together. Now, Destiny is an example of this formula being nearly done right. But the thing is, if you take the the MMO grind on an MMO RPG, you run through the storyline, you hit endgame, you grind till new gear to some new content, till new content comes out and stuff like that. Whether it's a new raid, new boss, whatever, and stuff like that. You keep getting all these little updates until an expansion comes, which is that's typically how most MMORPGs work. It's a gear grind. You have these little 4, 5, 6-man dungeons. Then you have larger raids that are composed of tons of people and stuff like that. Well, in a shooter MMO, you don't get this same exact experience. It's really, really different. Like Destiny, for example. We'll start there. Destiny, they have their strike encounters. There's the group missions and stuff like that. Destiny, has its gear grind. That's why I said Destiny is nearly an example of this done right. It has raids that you can do, farm for special gear, weekly caps. Destiny is honestly a Halo MMO, and that's the honest truth. They did that right. But the thing is, the grind isn't always going to be so appealing with a shooter like MMORPGs. Like, there's a reason that FPS players, if they're strictly into shooters, there's a reason they don't play MMOs and RPGs and stuff like that. And same with MMO guys. Like, I know a ton of people that are strictly RPG and MMO players. There's a reason that they don't play shooters. And when you take these two genres and mix them together, trying to combine them, I think you honestly piss people off more than building a good game. And that's what I think the biggest problem with Destiny and the Division is. Like, for example, like me personally, the thing I can't stand about Destiny is I can't stand doing all that grinding in an FPS. Like when I first played the Destiny beta, all I wanted to do was go into Crucible all day. But Destiny being technically an MMO and having a progression system like an MMO, besides getting lucky RNG gear drops, the Crucible really didn't do much for me. And it didn't give me, there was no sense of progression, no sense of achievement or anything like that. Like, if I play Call of Duty or if I play Battlefield, I'm leveling up, I'm earning new weapons, I'm earning prestiges, something. But when I play the Crucible in Destiny, I'm not getting anything but a chance that maybe a piece of gear that might give me a higher light level every X amount of matches, depending on RNG. And that that really isn't isn't appealing, isn't enough to keep people drawn into its multiplayer. Now let's talk a little bit more, when it comes to the Division. The Division, works similar, and the thing is with the Division, there really is no true competitive multiplayer side. You have, the Dark Zone, which is a PvP area, but the main thing with that is and that makes that so unappealing is once everyone's a high enough level, you're playing a shooter against bullet sponge other players, and that's not really fun. Like, I don't want to fight a tank in a shooter. I don't want to have a guy that's built for soaking up bullets. That defeats the whole purpose of a shooter. Like, okay, if you're fighting some type of juggernaut, it's heavy armored, he takes a few extra shots. Like, if I deal with something like that in Call of Duty or Battlefield, he takes some extra bullets, but he goes down. These guys in in the Division can take you minutes to kill. Like, can take you, a fairly long time to kill. There can be some long drawn out firefights in the Dark Zone in the Division, and that's as a shooter player, me personally, as a shooter, as a person that likes shooters, I don't find that appealing. I find that more annoying than competitive. And even with Destiny, with Destiny, the thing I like about their competitive multiplayer is everything's on a balanced playing field. Like, the only time you lose a serious advantage in the Crucible is if either A, you're playing the Iron Banner where gear ranking is put into play, or B, if you go into the Crucible as a really low level and you don't have certain abilities unlocked yet, like your like double jumping and your ultimate attacks and stuff like that. And Destiny, in a way, with the competitive multiplayer, really even pushes it, with some of the ultimate attacks and stuff like that. It kind of kills the shooter element, and it brings a lot of those RPG factors into its shooter multiplayer. And I just personally feel like these traits, these aspects, between these two games annoy people more than anything. And that's honestly what I feel is, the problem with these games. And another thing is, like, when it comes to things like DLC and expansions and stuff like that, when it comes to an MMO RPG, they're constantly, adding things on to expand the world. When it comes to these MMO shooters, these developers are adding things into the game that just look like stuff that that should have been there in the first place. Like the Division's a prime example. The way that game looked, when it first launched compared to how it is now, it's a way better game. It took them patches and and months of work just to increment gear levels and things like that. You built an MMO shooter hybrid. That should have been there from the beginning. There's no reason that should have took months to iterate into the game. I personally just think that's really silly. And even with Destiny, same thing when that first came out. Light wasn't I don't remember if Light wasn't there or if it just wasn't big in the emphasis and had a big emphasis on it at the time, or what when the game first launched. But same thing with Destiny. Like, if you're gonna build an MMO shooter, like, the things need to be there from the beginning. The only thing that should be expanding is the worlds itself. And that's the thing with MMOs, like Final Fantasy 14. You're paying a monthly fee and stuff like that. But every time an expansion or a new patch comes out, there's not something that's added that that should have been there already. There's something brand new that's brought into the game that wasn't there before. Something that's extra to do, not something that that just looks like it should have been there from the beginning. And that's where the problem with DLC comes in. But then again, like I said, guys, that's a whole nother topic that I don't even want to bring up. And the thing that makes me the most upset is, especially with the Division, is they had the advantage of being able to sit back and have that game in development for years, and even watch, Destiny make the mistakes that it did, and they still follow down a similar route. And that, just, I don't know, just bugs me. It makes me feel like that, these types of games, these MMO shooter hybrids, honestly just, aren't done properly, and I don't think they're, a really good type of game. But anyway, guys, y'all share your thoughts. This is just my personal opinion. But anyway, guys, if y'all enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave your opinions in the comments below. I'm up for debate, criticism, or anything like that. It's no biggie. We're all gamers here. Let's chat about. But I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. It's your boy Snack127, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace out, guys.
赤く赤く揺れて